You like to imagine you're in the driver's seat of your own life. You think your decisions are logical. You think you're a generally nice, rational person who treats people well. But there is a stranger living inside you. There is a version of you that is petty, envious, irrational, and dangerous. You don't want to look at it. You spend half your energy trying to hide it. But ignoring this side of your nature is exactly why you keep running into the same walls over and over again. This book isn't just a guide, it is a mirror. And for most people, looking into it is going to be terrifying. Here is the brutal reality of the world we live in. We are social animals. We depend on other people for our survival, our careers, and our happiness. But we are terrible at understanding them. You misread your boss's silence as anger. You trust a friend who is secretly sabotaging you out of envy. You fall for the charismatic leader who is actually a con artist. And worst of all, you lie to yourself about why you do the things you do. If you don't understand the laws that govern human behavior, you are essentially walking through a minefield blindfolded. You will get hurt. You will be manipulated. And you will wonder why bad things keep happening to good people like you. But if you can flip the switch, if you can stop reacting and start observing, you gain a superpower that looks almost like magic. But here's the wild part. Most people pick up this book thinking they're going to learn how to manipulate others. They want the hacks to control their boss or seduce a partner. But that is not where Robert Greene starts. The first person you have to decode isn't your enemy. It isn't your ex. It's you. Because until you realize how irrational you are, you have zero hope of handling anyone else. The book is massive, but we are going to break it down into the laws that hit the hardest. We are going to perform open-heart surgery on your personality. Let's go. Chapter 1. Master your emotional self. You think you make decisions based on facts? You don't. You make decisions based on how you feel, and then you use facts to justify what you already wanted to do. This is the law of irrationality. We are emotionally reactive creatures. When something happens, someone cuts you off in traffic, your boss criticizes your email, you feel a rush of emotion. That emotion colors your reality. You stop seeing what is actually happening, and you only see what your anger or fear allows you to see. Evolution wired us this way. For millions of years, if you saw a lion, you needed fear, not a debate. Speed was survival. But today, that instinct destroys us. We live in a world of complex social games, but we are reacting with caveman emotions. When you are emotional, you are stupid. It doesn't matter how high your IQ is. If you are reacting, you are not thinking. Imagine Pericles in ancient Athens. Athens is about to go to war with Sparta. The people are screaming, panicking, demanding blood. They are furious. Pericles doesn't scream back. He doesn't get angry. He goes to his house alone. He sits. He waits for the adrenaline to leave his system. He looks at the map. He looks at the resources. He strips away the fear and the pride. He finds the inner Athena, the voice of pure reason. While everyone else is drunk on emotion, he is sober. And because he is sober, he wins. Here is the part that stings a little. You are not as rational as you think. When you fail, you blame bad luck. When others fail, you blame their stupidity. That is your ego protecting you. You are drowning in biases that make you feel good rather than be right. From now on, whenever you feel a strong emotion, anger, extreme joy, sudden fear, treat it like a red flag. Do not act. Increase your reaction time. Force yourself to wait 24 hours before sending that angry text or accepting that too-good-to-be-true job offer. Train yourself to think, not react. But mastering your own mind is only step 1. Now we have to talk about the addiction that controls almost every interaction you have. Chapter 2. Transform self-love into empathy. We are all trapped in a solitary confinement of our own making. We are obsessed with ourselves. This is the law of narcissism. We all exist on a spectrum. On the low end, You have the toxic narcissists who treat people like objects. On the high end, you have empaths who can feel what others feel. Most of us are in the middle. We want to be good people, but we are mostly thinking about our own problems, our own bills, and our own reputation. You cannot survive without self-love. You need it to function. But when that self-love turns inward, you become a black hole. You constantly need validation. You need likes. You need attention. The goal isn't to stop loving yourself. It's to turn that attention outward. Empathy isn't just being nice. It is a tool for power. It is data. If you can actually feel what your enemy is feeling, you can predict their next move. Think of Joseph Stalin. In the beginning, he was charming. He remembered names. He asked about your family. He seemed like the ultimate friend. People loved him, but it was a trick. He was listening to find your weak spots. He was gathering data to control you. He was a deep narcissist. He didn't care about you. He cared about how you could serve him. And the moment you stopped being useful, the charm evaporated and the monster appeared. If you find yourself constantly bored by other people's stories, waiting for them to stop talking so you can speak, you have a problem. That boredom is your narcissism, killing your social intelligence. Try the visceral empathy exercise. In your next conversation, stop listening to the words. Look at the face. Mimic their posture. Try to feel the tension in their jaw or the excitement in their eyes. Stop trying to be interesting and start being interested. Once you stop looking at yourself, you'll start noticing something strange about everyone else. They are all wearing masks. Chapter 3. See through people's masks. If people showed you who they really were, society would collapse. So we all learn to act. This is the law of role-playing. Everyone you meet is playing a character. The tough boss, the dutiful spouse, the rebel. They wear the mask that gets them the most rewards. If you believe the mask is real, you are a fool. We learn early on that total honesty gets us punished. So we learn to smile when we are angry. We learn to nod when we are bored. This isn't evil, it's survival. But the mask always slips. Nonverbal cues, the tapping foot, the forced smile, the tone of voice, leak the truth. Your job is to ignore the words and read the leakage. Milton Erickson was a famous psychologist who was paralyzed by polio as a teenager. He couldn't move. All he could do was sit in a chair and watch his 7 sisters interact. He realized that what they said and what they did were opposites. A sister would say yes, while her head made a tiny no movement. He learned to read the second language of the body. He realized people are constantly broadcasting their true desires, but nobody is watching. You are easily deceived because you want to be. You want to believe that the compliment was sincere. You want to believe the excuse was real. Your desire to be liked blinds you to the reality of the game. Watch the exit. When an interaction ends, drop the smile and watch the other person's face for that split second when they turn away. That micro-expression often reveals how they actually felt about the meeting. But sometimes, people aren't just hiding their feelings. They are hiding a pattern of behavior that they can't even control. Chapter 4. Determine the strength of people's character. People never do anything just once. This is the law of compulsive behavior. We tend to judge people by their reputation or their apologies. "I'm sorry, I'm not usually like this," they say. Don't believe it. Character is formed deep in childhood and solidifies into patterns. If someone ghosts you once, they will do it again. If they cheat in business once, they will cheat you too. We are creatures of repetition. We have a compulsion to repeat the past. If a person felt helpless as a child, they might grow up to be a control freak. That need for control isn't a choice. It's a wire in their brain. They cannot help themselves. Look at Howard Hughes. He was a visionary, a billionaire, a genius. But he had a weak character. He couldn't delegate. He had to control every tiny detail, down to the shape of the biscuits served on his airplanes. This compulsion destroyed him. He ended up insane, alone in a dark room, terrified of germs, wasting his fortune because he couldn't trust anyone to help him. His character was his destiny. You keep dating the same toxic person with a different face. You keep quitting jobs for the same reason. That isn't bad luck. That is your character pattern repeating itself. Stop listening to apologies. Look at the track record. When you hire someone or date someone, look at how they treated their last 3 bosses or partners. The pattern is the truth. Now let's talk about how to make people obsessed with you. If you're still here, this is where it all clicks. Most people stop changing right here. They say, okay, I see the patterns, I see the masks, but they stay passive. The second half of this book isn't just about defense. It's about offense. It's about how you become a person of power, how you generate influence. If your ego is getting defensive right now, pay attention. That's your signal. Chapter 5. Become an elusive object of desire. Presence diminishes value. Absence creates desire. This is the law of covetousness. Humans are hardwired to want what they don't have. We chase the fantasy. Once we get it, we get bored. If you are always available, always texting back instantly, always putting everything on the table, you become boring. The grass is always greener on the other side. This is biological. We are dissatisfied by nature so that we keep moving and innovating. To be powerful, you must become the green grass. You need to create a sense of mystery. You need to be a little hard to figure out. Coco Chanel. She started as an orphan. She had nothing. But she created a myth around herself. She never told the whole truth about her past. She created clothes that were just androgynous enough to be confusing and alluring. She didn't just sell hats. She sold a fantasy of independence. She made herself an enigma, and the world became obsessed with figuring her out. You are too honest. You talk too much. You reveal your insecurities too early. You think it builds intimacy, but often it just kills respect. Withdraw. If you feel people taking you for granted, pull back. Don't explain why. Just become less available. Create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and people will rush in to fill it with their attention. But be careful, because while you are creating desire, you might be ignoring the monster lurking in your own basement. Chapter 9. Confront your dark side. The nicer the face, the darker the shadow. This is the law of repression. We all have a shadow, the collection of greed, aggression, and forbidden desires that we were told were bad when we were kids. So we hid them. But they didn't die. They grew in the dark, and now they leak out. When you see someone who is aggressively moral, always preaching about how good they are, be careful. They are repressing a massive shadow. The shadow leaks out in accidents, in sudden outbursts of anger, or in passive-aggressive comments. If you deny your shadow, it will control you. Richard Nixon wanted to be the good boy. He wanted to be a peacemaker. He repressed his anger, his suspicion, his ruthlessness. He created a smiling public mask. But the shadow always wins. Behind the scenes, his repressed paranoia took over. He taped conversations. He listed enemies. The shadow hijacked his presidency and destroyed his legacy. You have a dark side. You have thoughts that would shock your mother. If you keep pretending you are a saint, you will eventually do something destructive. Integrate the shadow. Find safe outlets for your aggression. Be competitive in sports or business. Write dark stories. Use your ambition. Don't hide the beast. Harness it. And speaking of the beast, there is one emotion that destroys friendships faster than anything else. Chapter 10. Beware the fragile ego. Your friends want you to do well, but not too well. This is the law of envy. It is the most painful emotion, so we deny it. We never say, I am envious. We say, that person is arrogant, or they didn't earn it. Envy grows between friends and peers. It happens when you rise and they stay still. We compare ourselves constantly. It's how we measure our self-worth. When someone close to us succeeds, it makes us feel like failures. This triggers a deep, cold hostility. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. She had a close friend, Jane. Jane pretended to support Mary, but secretly she was eaten alive by Mary's talent. Jane began a campaign of subtle sabotage, spreading rumors, planting doubts, trying to steal Mary's husband. It wasn't because she hated Mary, it was because she wanted to be Mary. You have sabotaged people because you were envious. Admit it, and people you trust are currently doing it to you. Watch out for the poisonous praise, compliments that have a little sting in the tail. Never brag. If you have a huge success, downplay it. Attribute it to luck. I got lucky with that client. It soothes the envy of those around you and keeps the target off your back. Finally, we have to look at the ultimate reality check. Chapter 18. Meditate on our common mortality. You are dying, and that is the best news you'll hear all day. This is the law of death denial. We live like we have forever. We waste time on TikTok. We hold grudges. We worry about petty nonsense. We are asleep. C. Psychological explanation. The awareness of death is the only thing that snaps us awake. It creates the paradoxical death effect. When you realize your time is short, life suddenly becomes sweet. Colors are brighter. You stop caring what people think. You become bold. Flannery O'Connor was a writer who developed lupus at a young age. She knew she was going to die young. Instead of depressing her, it lit a fire. She stopped compromising. She wrote with a ferocity and urgency that most people never find. She stared death in the face and used it as fuel to create a legacy. You are wasting your life. You are waiting for the right time to start your business, to say, I love you, to fix yourself. There is no right time. There is only time running out. Practice memento mori. Keep a symbol on your desk that reminds you of death. When you are stressed about a deadline or a rude comment, ask yourself, does this matter if I die next year? The answer is almost always no. We have walked through the minefield. We have looked at the narcissist, the aggressor, the envier, and the liar, and we found them all inside of us. The journey of this book isn't to make you cynical. It's to make you awake. Most people are sleepwalking slaves to their emotions. They are puppets of their own nature. But you now have the strings in your hands. Here is the core lesson. Human nature is not good or bad. It is a tool. If you ignore it, it destroys you. If you master it, it empowers you. Here are 5 things to start doing right now. Wait 24 hours before reacting to any emotional event. Observe the nonverbal cues. Watch the face, not the words. Accept your shadow. Stop trying to be a nice guy and be a whole man. Downplay your success to deflect envy. Think about your death every single morning to sharpen your focus. This is not an easy path. It requires you to kill your ego every single day. But the reward is the one thing everyone wants but few ever get. True freedom.